Professional Speaker Manual, number 2, Speaking to Entertain. Her time is 15 to 20 minutes. Her speech is titled, My Sitcom Life. Missy's intention with this speech is to have fun, sharing stories from the Carlson Klan. Missy?
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, do you ever feel like your life is going from one sitcom episode to the next, to the next, to the next? That's the life I'm living right now. I feel like my life is going from one sitcom to the next, to the next. But I think that's what happens when you have one husband, 2 daughters, and 3 four-legged fur babies, and a fish. I feel like I am just going from one adventure to the next to the next. And I very much adhere to what Irma Bombeck said, that when your child has locked themselves in the bathroom and the water is running and you ask them what they're doing and they say, nothing, but the dog is barking, call 911. And if I had to give my life a title, I've come up with Carlson Klan as the best title, but my life is really kind of a mix between the middle, meets The Big Bang Theory, meets Fresh Off the Boat. Now we're a lot like the middle because my husband and I are from Indiana. I don't know if you all have ever been to Indiana, but the middle is about this family that grew up in Indiana. And we can so relate to a lot of the stuff that goes on in this show. Like, for example, our traffic jams in northern Indiana really were about getting stuck behind a farm tractor, and we're like 10 cars back, and there's no way you're ever going to get around it. We really did see Amish going all around the town. We would see their horse and buggy. The funniest thing was, we'd see their horse and buggy tied up to the light post at the Lowe's Home Improvement Store or the Walmart. And they were in there getting their Starbucks, which just kind of cracked me up. We can't have electricity, but we can get our caramel macchiatos. And we're a lot like Big Bang Theory, because if you've not seen Big Bang Theory, it's about these guys that are really, really brilliant, but at times they're a little vacuous. And I am not saying that we're all brilliant in our family. My oldest daughter is very, very smart, though. She just got a perfect score on a portion of the SAT, so I'm quite proud of her. So she's very smart. But at times I get that vacuous 17-year-old teenage stare that is like, you want me to do what? And she has no idea what I want to do. But the real reason I relate to the Big Bang Theory is because I have this side of me that y'all really don't know. And, well, let me just kind of show you, because I have this really inner nerd that I let out every once in a while. And I love comic books. I love Captain America. And what a better picture than stormtroopers with Mickey Mouse ears. My favorite shirt from Disney World. And then we're like Fresh Off the Boat, because we have 2 beautiful daughters from China, so they have this beautiful black hair, and they are paired up with these 2 whiter than white parents. We look like we just got off the plane from Sweden. So whenever we go in somewhere, people look at us, and they turn their heads, and we just are used to that now. So we really feel like Fresh Off the Boat, which is about this family that is from China, that is in Orlando, and they're adjusting to life in a different culture. So as we go into Carlson Klan stories, I like Mark Twain's quote, which is, humor is mankind's greatest blessing. And I know right now our hearts are all just a little heavy for Anthony and what's going on in his life. But I hope to bless you all with stories from my sitcom life. And I want to start with the very first story, which is China. Number 1, China. In this sitcom episode, it shows us going off to China to adopt our second daughter. So as we go to China, we take our first daughter, Hannah, with us, and she's about 5 at the time. And when we land in Hong Kong, because we were extending our trip just a little bit so we could get Hannah an opportunity to see her culture and what she grew up with, and just give her that exposure. But as we land in Hong Kong, We get off the plane, we go to our hotel, and then we're going to see the sights in Hong Kong. And my mom is with us, and the first thing we see as we're touring around the city are these two gentlemen with rickshaws. And they are like 90 years old, and they have their rickshaws, and they're about 5 feet tall. And they're there for the tourists, I mean, purely for the tourists to give rickshaw rides or take pictures. Well, my mom said, "Hey, miss, why don't you and Hannah go climb in that rickshaw and get your picture made?" And we're like, "Okay, that'll be great." So that was all we had planned on doing, was climbing in the rickshaw. We climb in, the guy picks up the rickshaw like this, and he's smiling, and we got our picture made. Well then, all of a sudden, he kicks it up like this. Hannah and I fly back in the rickshaw, and he takes off. I've never seen a 90-year-old man run that fast. He was like Secretariat, just taking off with us. And I'm looking behind because I'm panicked because we hadn't planned on this, and I had no idea where we were going, and he's going as fast as he can. And then I see this other crazy sight, and that is my 6'1" husband being strong-armed by the other 5', 90-year-old man into the next rickshaw, and he's having nothing to do with it. As we were going along, I had this thought of, where's he taking us? What's he going to do to us? Where are we going? And then I thought, you know, he's small enough. I think I could take him if I had to. Happy to say this episode all ended up fine, and we ended up back where we started. A little later in that same trip, Hannah and Jim, my husband, and I were walking along this very small city, Changsha in China. Now, Changsha is a city of 2 million people, but it is considered a small city in China. So we're walking along like this, and Hannah, who is 5, and she's pulling on my hand, and she goes, "Mama, Mama." And I'm like, what, baby? And she goes, "Mom, there's Chinese people behind us." And the great part about that is she thought everybody was from China and everybody was adopted from China. So she didn't see color, she didn't see those differences. But that, I will never forget her saying, "Mom, there's Chinese people behind us." Episode 2, the teeth. Shortly after we got back from China with our first daughter, Hannah, our beloved Sheltie, that we had had for 12 years, went on that Rainbow Bridge and passed away. Our hearts were very heavy from this, and I had to have a dog. I love dogs, and I had to get another dog. So we go off to the shelter, and we get little Azalea. Little Azalea was a puggle. So she was about this tall. She's about 20 pounds. And really, she was not an Azalea. So we renamed her. We named her Divot, because my husband and I both love to golf. So we called her Divot. And my dad and mom were down helping us take care of Hannah. So Divot and my dad had a love-hate relationship. She loved him, he hated her, because she had those needly puppy teeth. Well, one day, Divot, my dad, and Hannah were all sitting on our deck. And my dad was playing his favorite game with Hannah because Dad had false teeth, so he would take his teeth out and kind of stick them out and then push them back in. Stick them out and push them back in. Hannah would just cackle. She just loved to see Dad do that. So what happened was Dad's teeth got out of control, and they went scooting out like that onto the deck. And there was Divot, man. She was on those like a shot. She picked them up in her mouth and looked at me with all these teeth like that. You can imagine the chaos that ensued as a result of that. So happy to say, though, that the teeth were recovered and no teeth were lost in that event. Episode number 3, the GPIP, aka the Guinea Pig Incentive Plan. My youngest daughter, Mia, was 6, and we were still not getting all through that potty training thing. She would be good during the day most of the time, but at night, there was no way, because she just did not really want to take the time to get up and go to the bathroom. So what we did was we came up with the GPIP, the Guinea Pig Incentive Plan. With this, she really wanted this guinea pig. More than anything in the world, she wanted a guinea pig. So my brilliant husband and I thought, hey, light bulb moment, we've got this. We're going to use this to help get her through this potty training. So what we did was, for each night she stayed dry, we would get her something towards the guinea pig. So if she stayed dry one night, she got a little food dish. If she stayed dry for 2 nights, she got a water bottle. 3 nights, food. And so on until we had everything we needed to get that prized pig. So by the end of August, she had earned this prized pig. So off we go to the pet store. And the pet store person says, I have got the greatest pig for you. She's only 3 weeks old. She's cute. She's lovable. She'll be great for Mia. And I said, that's awesome. And I had thought at the time, you know, I don't know that I really want a girl pig, but she's only 3 weeks old, so we should be good, because I did not want any guinea pig babies. No babies. We get our prized pig home, and Mia comes up with the name. Names her Bugsy. Very cute, I thought. Very appropriate for this little guinea pig. As we go on, Mia is saying, Mom, I really hope Bugsy has babies. And I said, I know you do, but there's no way she's going to have babies because she doesn't have a boy. We got to have a daddy to have babies. There's no babies coming. I'll never forget this morning. It was in a Monday in September at 7 a.m. in the morning, and Mia comes flying in my room and says, Mama, Mama, Bugsy had babies. And I'm like, what? But babies? Real babies? Because you know she's 6. And I go into her bedroom, and sure enough, there were 2 little guinea pig babies. They were all formed and fuzzy, and eyes were open, and they were just scampering around the cage, so much so that I thought, did we miss something when we cleaned out that cage last night? Because there were no babies the night before. Off we go to figure out. I go to the pet store, we get all this figured out. Evidently, it's very rare, but guinea pigs can become pregnant at 3 weeks of age. So, note to you all, remember that. So we have these 2 little babies, and they are so cute, and Bugsy's a really good mama. I got to tell you, though, I became an expert. I was on YouTube, I was on the internet trying to figure out if I had a boy and a girl or 2 girls, and I became an expert on how to sex guinea pigs. Things you never think you're going to have to know. As it turned out, we had a boy and a girl. So Hannah was going to take the boy guinea pig into her room before he turned 3 weeks old, and Mia was going to keep her guinea pig with the mama guinea pig. So we then had 3 guinea pigs. We had Bugsy, and then we had Gizmo. That's what Mia named her second guinea pig, was Gizmo. And then Hannah named her guinea pig Richard. So we have Bugsy, Gizmo, and Richard. Turns out I got the 3-for-1 special at the pet store, and I had no idea that was happening. Next episode, the McDonald's incident. As you can imagine, Mia is, as my youngest, she is just full of life and keeps me on my toes all the time. She loved to go to McDonald's. And for her, there was nothing better than chicken nuggets and French fries. That is like gourmet cuisine for her. Not so much for the rest of the family, but for her. She loved that type of food. So we would use this as a treat, and we would go there when we were on our way to Indiana. And on our way to Indiana, which is a long car trip, we would want to stop and let her burn off some of that energy that she's got going on. So as we're going along, we stop at the McDonald's, and of course they have that little play station. So our rule in our family is you eat first and then you play, because otherwise they're never going to eat. So they eat, and as they're darting off to go to the play area, I said, Mia, don't forget to take off your shoes. And Mia's like, yeah. And she's 3, so she's barely old enough to be there. So she's got her big sister with her, though, who is 7 at the time. They go off to the play place. A couple minutes later, Hannah, my oldest, comes back to me, and she's got this really pained look on her face. She's like, and I said, where's your sister? Where's your sister? And she just looks at me and goes, and I'm kind of looking around her, and there's Mia. And much to my amazing eyes, what I saw was that not only had she taken off her shoes, but her panties and shorts were down by her ankles. Evidently, she thought take your shoes off was let's get naked and go slide. As you can imagine, I jumped up as fast as I could. I pushed down on the table so hard that the food all starts to go like this. My ever-prepared Boy Scout husband scoops it up and pulls it back, and I dart off as fast as I can to get Mia to rescue her from what she's doing. And as I'm running across the play place, I kind of look out the sides of my eyes to see if anybody saw this, because that's right, what everybody wants to know. Is anybody seeing my daughter half naked across the... And I saw these sly little grins on all these little parents as I was running by them, and they could just be saying, better you than me, better you than me. So as I got over there, I pulled her pants up so fast, I'm quite sure I gave her a wedgie. But we survived the McDonald's incident. And my last story for the day is Mr. Finnick. About a year and a half ago, my daughter wanted to join the Paws and Claws Rescue Club at the school, which is rescuing cats. I'm allergic to cats, so there's no cats in our house. And I said, okay, you can join this, but we're not getting a cat. And she said, okay, that's fine. We're not getting a cat. I promise, we are not getting a cat. Well, we made it to the very first adoption event in November when she joined in September, and guess what? We got a cat. This cat is named Finnick, Mr. Finnick, and he was so cute and just so lovable, and for whatever reason I was able to hold him in the store and I had no allergy problems whatsoever. So fast forward a year, which would have been this last October, Mr. Finnick started getting a little sick and he was kind of throwing up a little bit, and we thought, okay, he's gotten into something. Well, it was on a Saturday night when he had been throwing up. And by Sunday afternoon, he yacked up a big rubber band. And we thought, great. Okay, that must be it. The girls had been playing Monopoly, and they had it laid out on the table and everything, and they had left it out while we went off to do something and came back to finish the game. So he had snagged one of the rubber bands, and the girls had mentioned this on Saturday night, saying, yeah, we can't find the rubber band for the money. Like, oh, well, okay, just get another one. Well, once we saw it on our floor, we knew what had happened with that. And I said, well, Mr. Finnick will probably be fine. He'll probably be okay. And that didn't happen, though. So going into Sunday night, Monday morning, he was still a little sick, kind of throwing up. And the girls said, well, you know, Mom, the Monopoly dog was missing also. And I thought, okay, well, let me go check his favorite hiding spots. And I'm looking under different things, trying to find his favorite, where he likes to hide things. And there's no dog. And I said, well, surely he would not eat the dog. Well, Hannah and I go off and do our college visit, which is what we were supposed to do that day. And Jim and Mia took Mr. Finnick to the vet. And Jim texted me during our college visit and said, well, we found the cat. Or not the cat, we found the dog. The cat did eat the dog. And so now if you go to North Mecklenburg website, Animal Hospital website, you will see a picture of my cat and his innards with the dog inside of him. So Mr. Finnick is the very famous cat that ate the dog. And our free cat now cost us $1,200 because we, of course, had to have that surgically removed. Because they didn't want the little ears to cut him up on the way out. So Mr. Finnick is now fine and he is recovered. But Cat Eats the Dog is the very famous Mr. Finnick. But yes, as I tell you these stories, we've also had crummy things that have happened in our lives, and we have had tragedy. But I choose to hold on to the funny moments in life. And I want to close with words from Dr. Seuss. From there to here and here to there, funny things are everywhere. So this week, I hope you will go find your funny.